What's up, solutionaries? Welcome everybody to the Maj Toure Show. I am Maj Toure, your host. It is Friday, September the 26th, 2026. Shouts to everybody for tapping in. Appreciate y'all, man. It's Friday. Usually on Fridays, we got a whole lot of people that don't tap in because they outside playing in the street. They getting drunk. They doing a bunch of stupid shit, not self-improvement. So for those of you that do make it here tonight, I want to say huge thank you for rocking out on a Friday. And you're more than likely, if you're watching the show or listening to it on whatever platform you're watching or listening to it on, you're probably going to do something productive after the show, as opposed to going outside getting hammered and shit like that. But anyway, the world has had enough of Israel. Tyler Simmons, what's up? Shouts to you. Big Rob, what's up? British Knight came in early and said, how about Red China? Tracy says, all good for Indonesia for having the balls to say we will send troops if necessary. That ain't all who said it. We're going to talk about this tonight, y'all. This won't be, last night, we've been going long lately. Y'all been having me on here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, all of that. You guys know the routine, though. Comment, let me know where you're watching from, what city. Put it in the chat. If you on X, hit the repost button. Let's share the space all over the place. But tonight's topic, man, I kind of don't talk about this Israel-Palestine, Israel in general thing. And it's not because like I have a, Perry says he's in welding class, outstanding. It's not because I have a, Israel ain't give me no money. You can usually tell who Israel's giving some money or some influence to. What's up, Mahagan? How are you? Galaxy over there in Orlando. Perry, where you at in the welding class? What city you in? Guys, again, gibsongo.com/solutionary. As we ask everybody to support the work. It's Friday, y'all got paid. It's a pay weekend. Support our work, our Second Amendment work, and all that other good stuff. But anyway, King Groove, what's up? Also, guys, if you got super chats, please, if you're doing a super chat, you want to support the work, we try to get 10 people to give $20 per show, 5 days a week, $1,000 a week going towards the work. All right, so if you want to do a super chat, please, 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 name a small business, name some, it could be your own, name somebody that's doing something good in the community, give their website a shout, something like that, so we can give them a shout. We try to utilize everything to promote the message and move forward. CBD Ron is in Durham, North Carolina. Big Rob says, thought I saw you in a white Bentley earlier. You never know. This topic tonight, I generally don't talk about. One, because I am interested in geopolitics to an extent. But I am not a geopolitical dude. The reason why the conversation around Israel or the Israeli government is such a very polarizing one is because it's obvious that the Israeli government has their hands in a lot of these different pots in America. AIPAC is a thing. I've had conversations directly with Thomas Massey about it. As you all, and this is before he went on Tucker Carlson. And these are things that are real. I mean, the AIPAC, before they renamed themselves to AIPAC, was around when John F. Kennedy was alive, before he was assassinated in the 60s. So these things are interesting topics. However, we on the show talk about things political, pop culture, sports, entertainment, and tie it back into a solution. But the reason why you guys don't see me talk too much about Israel is, one, I believe that when there's a lot of people talking about a thing, the polarization happens. And I don't want nobody to get it twisted and think I'm anti-Israel, meaning against Jewish people, right? I'm not against nobody other than anybody that's doing things outside of my our standard as solutionaries, right? And which means I could be against a whole lot of people or for a whole lot of people. But I try to not make sweeping indictments. What's up, Bookworm? I try to not make sweeping indictments. And there's people that I know that this is their wheelhouse. I'm friends with Dave Smith, who's Jewish, and he's really, really critical of the Israeli government. And when I let people cook, I watch for a while. I see what everybody's talking about. And today something happened at the United Nations. Netanyahu, when he was on the stage, they say he was visibly shaken as the majority of UN delegates storm out of the General Assembly Hall. He was also booed. The UN speaker has to calm down the situation by saying, please order in the hall. Netanyahu began to boast about the murders Israel carried out, such as the killing of Iranian nuclear scientists. Now, I am, very, very keen on the power of media. And I have friends, homies, Yehuda, the Pew Pew Jew, is a homie of mine. I've known him for about 9 years. I got Jewish friends. Some of them are Ashkenazi, some of them are Sephardic. So when it's not necessarily my wheelhouse, I step back and wait for a while and watch. When we're talking about, local politics, we're talking about freedom of expression, we're talking about liberty, we're talking about all of that. I can jump on those topics very early and very easy because I can absorb. I probably already got a bunch of information about the situation. But on top of that, I already kind of like know where I'm landing because I have and there's not as many people that's going to talk about it from this perspective. When I see so many people talking about these things in such passionate arguments, I step back and go, okay, both sides are passionate about this thing. Let me look at what is actually going on and then make a better assessment. Okay? And so today, when Netanyahu gets booed, we're going to play this real quick. And we're seeing, as he shows up to speak, like damn near the whole General Assembly Hall in the United Nations gets up and leaves. And this says something because, in the Jewish faith, they believe that they are always going to be persecuted and, they're God's chosen people and all of those different things. Whatever people believe is what they believe. So when I see people seeming like they're getting persecuted, I'm like, damn, well, is it a self-fulfilling prophecy? Or are they doing something that makes, or their government, because I'm always going to blame it on the government, not the general public, right? It's something happening that, is this self-fulfilling prophecy, or are you just the God's chosen people and people hating on you? I remember back in the day when I would listen to certain hip hop artists or certain people, and they would say, oh, they hating on me. And I would be like, bro, ain't nobody hating on you. Then as I got older and saw certain things, I started to do Black Guns Matter and selling different things. As I got older, I just started to recognize, like, damn, this dude just hating on me for no reason. I had an experience with that with a guy, and I'm going on a bit of a weave, but I'll bring it back, guys. I had a bit of an experience with a guy like that in LA Fitness in City Line Avenue. His energy from the gate was just bad. I didn't ever did anything to him. He just was hating on me, right? I wound up just leaving that gym, going to another LA Fitness, and then I wound up going to another better gym and so forth and so on. But my point is, when I hear these passionate arguments from both sides, I can see kind of the contradiction usually when it's not so polarizing and it's not death involved to a certain extent. I can kind of like look at the political landscape of it and go, or the landscape of it and go, nah, that side's on bullshit. But when there's this much death and it's been going on for however long, you sometimes should step back and watch it because it's not my primary lane. I know a decent amount of these things, right? It's a great resource, antiwar.com. They have not sponsored me. They have not paid for me. But I'm friends with Scott Horton. I'm homies with some of the people over there. But they do a good job of military industrial complex stuff and, wars. And it's the whole web. It's called antiwar.com. And so I watch for a while and I study and I pay attention. And then today this happens. And this is 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk's death and the theories around that. And, I remember like a year or two ago, there were like these Orthodox, Jews in Brooklyn coming out of these tunnels and just a bunch of different stuff. So I wanted to talk about how this is being perceived and what we can learn from it as solutionaries today. That's what I want to talk about. I do not care. Well, I care a little bit. I care that you guys get to express yourself tonight. I get that you guys, some of you may be pro-Israel, some of you guys may be pro-Palestine, and I say pro-Palestine because that's the, Gaza's looking like it's a lot of death over there, right? So I care that you guys get to express your position, but this is not my primary fight. I'm interested in somewhat like, my curiosity is piqued about how many people in America are arguing about Israel and Palestine while American infrastructure is kind of fucked. So I kind of go, well, what's our reason? And I want to hear from different sides and how is this being perceived and what's the marketing behind, Bibi, Netanyahu and all of that. And so I started digging up a little bit of stuff for everybody tonight. But again, it seems to me when the United Nations, which are heads of state internationally, the international community, and me personally, I don't even think it should be a UN. The UN, NATO, I don't care. Just create alliances, man. Do free trade. But that's me. Because I would be okay if shit happened. Right? Like I don't need police for my land and my house. I'd never call the police ever in my life. Ever. But I'm me, and that's not everybody else. So I just want everybody's perspective tonight. Bookworm already jumped in hot. And my man Trip jumped in hot too. Bookworm said the UN should not exist. I agree with that. I don't want to be in contract with people. When I started seeing in 2020, when it was talking about the World Health Organization in conjunction with the United Nations is coming up with different plans of how we handle world pandemics. Yo, our country is our country, your country is your country. That's how I view it. My man Trip says, MEGA, make Israel great again. So these conversations started brewing in my head. So I just started pulling stuff, and we're going to go over some of that tonight. But here in this video is Bibi Netanyahu at the United Nations. And as y'all can see, this has 5.2 million views, all right, of him taking a stand about to address the United Nations, and this happens. Yeah.
Please order in the hall. Please order in the hall.
Order in the hall.
Please order in the hall. Please order in the hall and please be seated.
Left. This is, when I tell y'all, when I say stuff that y'all like, the reason why I can understand politics and geopolitics to a certain extent, the stuff that I take interest in and start to actually study, because I'm not going to talk about nothing that I don't have a nominal understanding of, right? The reason why I'm solid with it is because I understand that geopolitics is just like the street. This, in the street, is called, everybody going to understand this phrase, pardon my back. Everybody in this chat is going to know exactly what that means. Pardon my back. This was the international community telling man, yo, pardon my back. That's the street. We don't like what you're doing. We think you a rat. We think you this. We think you that. Pardon my back. I don't even talk to you. I don't even want to listen to you. That's what this is. It's all gang shit. It's all the same. We don't like you. We want to take your block. We'll blow your block up first. Or we'll burn your block down so you can have it back. I'd rather that. That's what Hov said. Okay? Trip says, if Israel wants to keep this scam going, they got to ditch Bibi. I don't even know if they can come back because of how much death has happened. Okay? There's been a lot of death over there. A lot of death. And so this is what happens first. In an unprecedented action, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a live broadcast, mind you, this is, similar times. Around the same time. In a live broadcast from the UN building in New York, has announced that the IDF took control of the telephones of Gaza residents and Hamas members, and that his speech is now being broadcast live via the telephone. So, when you start to do, annoying shit like this, people start getting tired of you. And that's the Trip's point. It's clear that Bibi knew in advance about the October 7th attacks, did nothing. The most intelligence, powerful, Iron Dome, all of that. But now dudes from hangars can fly in and just blow up kill a bunch of people. Low key funded it and or knew about it, didn't do nothing to it in order to say, okay, now we're going to decimate Palestine, decimate the Gaza Strip. And to me, I understand it as a certain level of just this war. That's what I get. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, I can see why people went Trump this particular election cycle last November, because he didn't get us involved in any new wars his first term. But come to find out, Trump has made a 180. Still funding and supporting Ukraine versus Russia. Still funding Israel. And it's a serious question. And so when you get half, it looks like even more than half of the international community in this video. And when I say the international community, again, these are elected representatives, heads of state, diplomats from other nations across the international community going, pardon my back. You fucked it up. The international community is like, nah, we not with that. Then the crazy part, this is where I was having a little, let me hold my hand and hold my tongue for a minute. Let me fall back. Because for the longest time, I've always heard the so-called white supremacists. I don't believe in white supremacists. I call people that's low IQ, pretending like they high IQ. I call them troglodytes. I don't care what your melanin content level is, right? So when I heard troglodytes for years talking about the Jews and like being some of those dudes is like straight up anti-Semitic. I believe that dudes like Nick Fuentes, they can articulate the atrocities that a government such as Israel may have done, but I still think you're a fucking troglodyte. Just because you can communicate a message well, don't mean that I'm going to give you kudos because you're good at communicating about the wrongdoings of an international body or a head of state or government, right? So when these goofballs was talking this whole like, what you call it? Like, it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. I'll be like, because I got to consider the source. Now, a broke clock get right twice a day. A garbage can sometimes even get some steak. So some of these dudes get some points right. And it's not because they're super duper smart. It's because the atrocities seem to be, like any government, seem to be so back to back to back to back that the file is so long that if you start paying attention, you could give a breakdown. Mark of Isaiah just had a good point. He said most Zionists aren't Jewish. They may be Jewish in the sense of they may be Ashkenazi Jews, which is the ones that came out of Europe. Maybe not necessarily Sephardic Jews. All right? The Jew-ish. So if somebody's like, hey, what time are you going to be there? 6? The time is 6. 6-ish. It's not really 6. All right? So, and I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this from an etymological perspective. And I'm saying this by understanding what corruption and powerful governments do. And it doesn't mean your country or your government has to be, large as hell, right? Israel's the size of New Jersey. Okay? So I'm saying this to say, when I start hearing the bullshit from the dudes like Nick Fuentes, Jimenez has a good point here. When I hear the bullshit from dudes like Nick Fuentes and some of my white followers, I'm like, I got to pump the brakes because I can't be repeating after a goofball, right? But Jimenez says Nick Fuentes is against all Jews. Some like Candace speak against Zionists, not all Jews, but the Jewish mafia. But now you can't speak against it, you get called anti-Semitic. Now let me be very clear. I don't care what I get called. I'm waiting for one of y'all to call me a billionaire because I did my job right. I'm waiting for one of y'all to call me the greatest Second Amendment activist the world has ever seen because I did my job right. As far as the getting called the anti-Semitic thing, man, I get called nigger every day on Instagram, or excuse me, on X. And Elon has seemed to allow the shit to even get more rampant. It is what it is. So words don't, like, sticks and stones break my bones. Words don't hurt me. The words that I speak create my reality. And that's all I'm really concerned about. So the words that I'm saying are never based in hate. But now when we get to the point where media, most effective devil in America, can kind of like get on you for asking certain questions, I understand it, but I'm not impacted negatively by it, right? Because I know my perspective and I know that I sat back for a while and asked questions and watched. And if I'm doing it and the 90% of the international community is doing it and, moves like this, I have to ask the question. I got to go, why? Why? And then I see stuff like this. This is on the Israeli Prime Minister's page. Okay? He's literally, after killing a lot of people, you're responsible for your government killing a lot of people. There's argument about how many people it is. They shouldn't have did October the 7th. This, that, and the third. It's way more than the motherfuckers that died in October the 7th. It is. And so you got to start asking, or at least I did. I started going, well, why is people, is it just because they hate the Jews? We just hate them? Then I started seeing stuff like this. This goofball. And I started going, you know what? They're definitely paying people now at this point. Let me be very clear. I step back because I know that they are very capable people arguing both sides of this argument. I evaluate their arguments and I make an assessment based on their talk and actions of what has happened. And I'm smart. Brandon Tatum is not smart. He's a fucking moron. Do you guys also know that Brandon Tatum's goofy ass, they're so falling out of the Israeli government and what is looking to me, I'm going to use a word. I don't want y'all to identify me as a leftist, but I'm going to use this word. For all intents and purposes, the media that I'm seeing, that shit looked like an atrocity over in Gaza, Palestine, Strip. It does. So the international and pundit community is losing speakers to speak on behalf of the Israeli government. That they're now trotting out goofballs like Brandon Tatum to speak. And Brandon Tatum interviewed Bibi Netanyahu about a few weeks ago. So you're running out of people to actually even if they kind of pro-Israel, they kind of like, ugh, I can't stand next to you right now. But this meat gobbler will jump up there, and I don't even know if he got paid for this. Netanyahu spoke directly to the hostages and to Hamas. Lay down your arms. Let my people go. Hamas can end this war right now. This is their opportunity. I stand with Israel to bring every hostage home and dismantle the terror that targeted innocent people. Now, again, y'all, I told y'all earlier in the show. Sidebar real quick, guys. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Go hit the link. Support the work. Do a super chat. I'm not going to chop it up with y'all until Monday unless y'all in the DMs or you already in Solutionary 9, right? But we need your help. We're 37 days away from our goal, purchasing our building, hitting our goal. We need a bunch of support. So we're going to ask everybody to support the work. You get some value from the show. You want to support Second Amendment, free classes for all of the people, beginners that want to learn stuff in person, right? If you're a woman more specifically and you need an online class, let's get 10 people to donate $100 to make sure that we can get some women trained in firearms basics and understanding imminent threat. We make the show to sharpen our talking points, but our work is just as important. Community work, local work, very important. All right? Hit the like button, share it all over the place if you're watching on X. Now, saying this to say, when you see morons like this parroting the talking points, they've ran out of all of the talkers. You got to land at Brandon Tatum, who can be bought and sold. Okay? Shouts to Trippin' Ain't Easy for the first super chat. He says, Talmud Tatum gets cooked daily on his X and IG page. You know he took them shekels. He definitely took them shekels. He got him. And I don't even think they gave him a big bag of shekels, but he definitely out there tap dancing for the shekels. Brandon Tatum said he was over in Israel and they not racist because the child that they was with, only one person got spit on. His words, not mine. But I also have homies that are in Israel often. And they like, bro, it's black as hell over here. But they also practice the Jewish faith. So, of course, they don't want to cast their country in a horrible light. I also know guys like, what's his name? Ex-basketball player. Played for the Knicks. Amari Stoudemire has converted to Judaism in the Torah. Got cribs over there. Does his thing. Right? So my point in saying this is I'm always going to be nuanced in the approach. But when I start seeing things like this guy that's easily bought and sold, this is the same guy that I saw with my own eyes have to be damn near Charlie Kirk's security at an event where he was telling him, yo, push them back, to the people that came to see Charlie Kirk. See, this is the things that some of y'all don't know. Y'all don't know that I've been in these rooms, in and out of these rooms, seeing shit. Brandon Tatum is a clown. So if you got this person, this is another reason why I hold my tongue a lot of times on these things until I can bring up reference material and share with y'all, because myself, I am not involved heavily in international politics at all. I like local shit. I got America on my mind. I got Philly on my mind. Just like Tripp gonna have the DC area on his mind. Some of y'all gonna have, whatever your city, you gonna have it on mine. We can articulate these things to tie them back into what should be happening for us. And the overall thing that I'm seeing right now is we spending still, under the Trump administration, spending way too much fucking money, time, and energy on Israel's issues. Outside of the other things that we said we weren't going to do, meaning the Trump administration 2024 campaign trail, and we did a 180 on. So when I see Brandon Tatum out here, this doesn't bode well for the Israel government side, because he's a fucking moron. And he's definitely bought. If somebody disagrees with me, please tell me how I'm wrong. But he stayed ready out there with a Zook suit, ready to tap dance at a moment's notice. I seen him tap danced all through Turning Point. Even when he introduced me at the Youth Black Leadership Summit, he said, this is one of the realest dudes out here. And then turned around and said, I'm fake and all of this other shit, right? I got the video. So if he's given the representation of what it means, I got to start asking questions. I got to go, well, let's look a little bit more. Again, for those of y'all tapping in, just tapping in now, what we're talking about tonight.
Please order in the hall.
This is 90% of the international body politic dipping out. Look at all these black heads of state. We out. The illest version of Pardon My Back. The illest version. But then I start looking a little bit further. Microsoft terminates Israeli military's access to its technology after uncovering mass civilian surveillance system, violating its terms. I have heard story after story after story in the last 6 months of just watching and not having a big conversation about this. And not because I was afraid to. Again, there were competent people on both sides presenting their arguments. And I'm like, that's a good point. That's a good perspective. And talking to my dyed-in-the-wool Jewish friends. And they like, that's not what happened. This not what happened. So I got people in both sides of these camps that I would listen to. Genuine Jewish people, genuine Americans. And then I got the extreme ends that I can see on the internet. The white nationalist racist dudes. The Mexican gay virgin Nick Fuentes dudes. That I'm like, yeah, that part makes sense, but you a dickhead. Right? So when I'm listening to all of this and then I start peeling back this onion, I'm like, these people, so many people are like, yeah, I worked in intelligence in America. I worked for the agency. I worked for this. I worked for that. And we would always find, whenever we had Israeli government people come in, we would do sweeps after they left and before they left, and they would leave listening devices and try to spy on us. So I've heard these stories, and now look what happened. Terminates Israel's military access to its technology after uncovering mass surveillance system, violating its terms. This ain't touched the media. Okay? Hemenicus got a good point here. Hemenicus says, living in Israel opened my eyes to how many atheists live there, in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. I heard Tel Aviv's beautiful. I heard Tel Aviv's like Miami. Right? What is your experience? What do you think about the Israeli government, Hemenica? Tell me what you think. Bookworm says, at the end of the day, we should not be funding Israel. They need to hold their own nuts. I agree. Katie Cat says, Israel spies on everyone, everywhere, every time they can get away with it. And I agree with that. Based on me listening to more intelligent people on this thing. So, again, we go back to this question in my head. Has the world just had enough of the way that the Israeli government, not its people, the way that the Israeli government has been handling things? Okay? That's a legitimate question. So we keep going down the rabbit hole. This was from September the 16th. This is 250 U.S. state legislators currently in Israel. This shit right here looks like you got an occupied nation. Sorry, guys. Sorry. 250, 2 weeks ago, 250 U.S. state legislators currently in Israel. Why? If I was a state legislator, send me to Bermuda, the Bahamas. Send me to Switzerland, Austria. You mean the air's crisp in September? Great question. We are occupied. Who paid for their travel? And I'm just saying, government, not its people. Big difference. These are the things that we have to start asking questions on. But y'all know that I'm a stickler. I am a stickler for the nuance and how we articulate these things. Because what's not going to happen? Right? I got gay friends. I got transgender family members. I got white homies. I got everything that is getting vilified, or the wording is getting made to be very, very hyperbolic, right? What we are not going to do as solutionaries is allow the state, the media, or the propaganda to try to even paint us as anti-Semitic, because we're going to articulate it better. When you tap into the Maj 2 ratio, my job is to give you those talking points and how you can articulate these things without being so easily packaged. They're going to say whatever they're going to say. But what's not going to happen is nobody going to clip my shit up and make it look like you're going to have to work hard to make me look anti-Semitic, anti-black, anti-white, anti-Latin, anti-anything. What I'm clear on is I am anti-overreaching government, anti-extreme ends, anti-lack of nuance. Everyone that is not nuanced, that is not limited government, that is not objective, everybody that's not on that wave, they're fucking wrong, because they're not solutionaries. Period. Sometimes I'm going to agree with the left. Sometimes I'm going to agree with the right. It depends on who's getting it right. And this shit right here, 250 U.S. state legislators in Israel getting paid to go over Israel with another flag flying higher than your American flag? No, thank you. No, thank you. And you got to ask that question. You got to go, why is AIPAC, why is damn near the only person in D.C., Thomas Massie, the one that's attacked by Trump all of the time? Why is he the only one that I know of without an AIPAC guy? Why is that? Why do you need an AIPAC guy? Now, don't get me wrong. Let me argue for my Hebrew brethren real quick. This is the part where we got to learn. You can ask questions, but you can also recognize and respect something. I like that any group of people will entrench themselves in government and direct the government in the way they want it to go. That's what we as Americans are supposed to do. The governing comes from the consent of the governed. But if you don't got no representatives in there telling people what to do and sometimes more importantly, what not the fuck to do, you on the outside talking about, I'm gonna vote for such and such. Did you lobby? Did you fundraise? Did you donate to campaigns? No? Oh, my darling, you must dream bigger. You must think larger. You must think like an actual, this is a mafia. And I'm a part of this gang too. And don't shit move out here without me. I love that about AIPAC. Because that's what I'm going to do. Watch me I took over the Second Amendment community and made everything go the way I wanted it to go. I didn't let nobody say, well, don't go teach a class there because they don't like pro-gun people. I don't give a fuck what they don't like. This is what it is. That's G shit. I think we, as the American people, from white, black, everything in between, should take a page out that book. Is you down with the Constitution? Is you down with limited government? You shouldn't take no money from nobody that ain't us. Because you getting how you move and work on our block and you ain't get co-signed from us. You taking orders from somebody else on my shit? That's how we should be. It seems to me like that's how the Israeli government, i.e. AIPAC, i.e. Bibi Netanyahu, it seems to me that's how they moving. Can y'all not respect that? Gangster shit. I want some gangster shit too. Matter of fact, I don't want no money going nowhere the fuck else other than our block. Gangster shit. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up and your leader going to pull my chair out for me and make sure I'm sitting down comfortable. Gangster shit. We got the paperwork. We got the guns. What's up? Why are we not involved? You know why? Because y'all don't get involved in local politics and civics on a local, state level to influence the federal level. Because if your local and state politics are good and you limit in government, the people get more money and the economy's more flourishing. That means it's safer streets. That means it's better tourism dollars. Then you don't have to, your governor that you hire, elect, doesn't have to be dick riding the president for federal dollars because your state got so much bread. That's the reason why Gavin Newsom could talk that shit to a certain extent. Because California, the 6th largest economy in the world, but they do it from taxing. Don't get me wrong about that. My point in saying this is we aren't involved enough. I want the American people to be as involved with the politicians as AIPAC is. I want y'all to answer that question for me. Why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing it? Tripp says, honestly, this country cooked. 85% of us are rocked almost completely to sleep. We went from turning up over getting taxed on tea to being too scared to criticize our biggest ally and problem. Woo! I'm telling y'all to subscribe to Tripp. Because he's saying the shit that most of y'all thinking it might be scared to say. Just put it out there. Bookworm says the reason why we're not involved is because of money. What you mean by that, Bookworm? I'm saying to y'all, the founders of America, at the risk of death if they lose, went against the most powerful Navy and military force in the world at the time. While their shooters was right there with them, the Redcoats. And they said, fuck this, we doing this. If you white in America and you can identify more with the founding fathers than I can. You should be able to. You white, right? White man, what's up with you? Why are you bitching up right now? I'll be hearing all of these white dudes talk about, yeah, this is a white man's name. I'm not saying that if you happen to be white in the chat tonight that you going this far with it, right? But what I'm saying is I hear a lot of the white dudes on X, unless they bots, going, yeah, this is a white man's country, the white man is under attack. Well, when the white man was under attack by other white men, the 1700s, he bust his gun and got that freedom. You ain't even up against life or death in the sense of we gonna hang you for a war. You ain't gotta row a boat on Christmas Eve across the Delaware River to go kill the ops like George Washington and the boys had to do. All you gotta do is get involved in local politics. I, the black man, the melanated, God body, ran for local office. Knowing I was gonna get my ass whipped, still did it. Still got a civics class, still am telling people that. So if the black man, the Frederick Douglass energy can do it, what's up, white man? You gonna let these AIPAC folks run you up out of your own joint? What's happening? Where that energy at? Well, that's not becoming of your ancestors. That's not becoming of John Brown. What's up? What's up? John Brown, man, rolling over in his grave. Where that energy at? I identify as America as mine because I was born here. I like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I like the system of checks and balances. I see that they pulled a lot of that energy from African nations. And before y'all just get it twisted and think I ain't got knowledge yourself, I don't know where you've been. But I know that pyramid is in Kemet. what y'all call Egypt. I know Ben Franklin and all them boys was over there. I know the high science that they tapped into, the numerology, the grand mathematics. I understand what all of that is. So I ain't tripping because I'm a part of America because I was born here. You feel me? So if I could say it in the face of the goofballs trying to act like this was never your land, to me, why can't y'all say it? Now, I don't know if this picture right here is doctored. I hope and pray it's doctored. I hope and pray this picture is doctored. Hope Tripp says, we black people are cooked too. Israelis have controlled our culture from civil rights to hip hop. I don't think that hip hop, that's rap. That ain't hip hop. That's rap, rhythm and poetry, corporate rap. Real hip hop is out here. We just got to find it a little bit more. And I want to be clear, that's a great point that I want to add to what Tripp just said. I said this on Candace Owens' show when we sat down. I said, that's not black culture. See, that's another part of the psyop. I want y'all to recognize that. That shit y'all see what Cardi B doing on her motherfucking this album promo run. That's not black culture. No. See, the beauty of it is they could package it because it's black people and some white people doing similar things. And they can say because it's mostly this and black people are a part of it or created it, they're not going to tell you we co-opted it. And once we left certain elements out, culture has elements like hip hop had hip hop, rapping, MCing, DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti. Those were the original 4 elements of hip hop. The thing that we seeing right now has nothing to do with that, so it's not hip hop culture. It's a corporatized rap, but because it's populated, sanctioned, financed, and they push certain people to the forefront, then people fall victim to saying, "Oh, this is black culture." No. That's not black culture. You know what black culture is? Paul Lawrence Dunbar. You know what black culture is? My Wife and Kids. If we're talking about entertainment, that TV show, My Wife and Kids. You know what black culture is? The Cosby Show. That's what I said on Candace Owens' show. You know what black culture is? Family Matters. See, they have manipulated the situation to go in a different way, and they call it, this is what black culture is. No. That's like they got the whole right thinking woke. The term, they don't even know what the term woke means. They're using a bastardized definition of the word when actually you want more woke people around. I'm woke. I'm not plugged into the matrix sleepwalking out here. I know exactly who I am. I have no doubt about that. I am aware when they try to put me back to sleep. 1,000%. But they could package it and now you're going, oh, these woke leftists, they not woke. What happened was when we started using the term and was calling so much, I did a whole video on it. YouTube.com. Just go on YouTube.com/Maj2Ray. Type in why woke is good. I made that video like 4 or 5 years ago. So they'll co-opt something. I actually made a point of posting a video a few days ago, similarly talking about the term liberal. See, I don't even call these leftists liberals. Classic liberals was the John Locke's. Classic liberals was the Frederick Bastiat's. Liberty. See, you got to tap into your etymology of things. Do not let these devils repurpose the word. Now you chasing the wrong definition, and they got you fighting from the improper framework from the gate. But going back to this picture right here, it says, Israel is a terrorist state. Now, if October the 7th happened, and however many people died in October the 7th, right? And that was, if it was, let's say it legit was Hamas, there was no sanction, supported, funded by Bibi to get this going. Let's say it was none of that. They just really did the wrong thing and they killed innocent people. Let's go with that. This doesn't equate that. This picture right here of an entire town decimated to this level. They're not the people, all of those people that did that. They're not. They're not. So when I look and step back and watch the information, and when I see 90% of the international body politic saying, pardon my back to Bibi. When I see him in that same UN address say, make fun of this speech right now is being broadcast to the people of Palestine right now in the middle of a war, that is terroristic. When the United States was in Vietnam years ago, they would drop leaflets. They would make the Vietnamese people think that it was going to be food drop. And they would drop pamphlets in Vietnamese and English and whatever. And the pamphlets would say shit like, this could have been a bomb and we could have killed you right now. To get the people of Vietnam telling their leadership to quit. They could have, while you was out here waiting, thinking it was a UN type energy where a humanitarian aid dropping food down, this could have been a bomb. That is a terrorism mind fuck. When I see this, if this picture is not doctored, I have to say that because we don't know with all this AI shit. If this is a genuine picture, this punishment does not fit that crime. So as I'm watching over the last 6 months and looking at very intelligent people, Scott Horton is very intelligent and knows this war shit. That's a homie of mine. I can text him and be like, yo, what's up with this? Check out this, check out this, check out that. All right, cool, bro. Then when I try to find the inverse, and it's stumbling and stammering, and then when I look at the body politic of the world, because I get it. You could say, well, Americans are just anti-Semitic because of blah, blah, blah. They think that the Jewish American community controls everything in media, so they're just a little anti-Semitic. I go, okay, that's an argument to be made. But then when I step back and I see the entire 90% of the international body politic hit him with a solid pardon my back, or in Philly where we say, fuck out of here, dickhead. When I see that, I got to ask different questions. And then I see this. Tell me where I'm wrong. Y'all hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Everybody, I want y'all to support the work. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. What I'm giving y'all right now is a class, a master class in addressing things without looking like any of the shit that they would try to call me. Nobody in this chat's going to be like, yeah, Maj is coming off anti-Semitic. This is how we have to communicate. And I don't want to hear this like I just get to express myself. When you're talking about being tactful and using solid tactics, you got to do it. We are in asymmetric warfare. The media and propaganda is a part of that. You tap into the show so I can give y'all ways to get around that shit without packaging it like, yeah, he's anti-Semitic. No. You'll never be able to box me in that way. And how I know it works is because this is how I never got bad press going into the hood, literally saying, I'm going to get more people in the hood armed. I articulated it in a way where extreme leftist media couldn't package me as them crazy gun dudes. Y'all don't even see me with guns that often. It's a tactic. I'm telling y'all something that was successful, and I want you to replicate it. Now, Tripp says, but they do own it. They 1,000% do that own, and he's referencing this fake black culture, this degraded culture that they're calling black. We got to stop repeating that. That is not historically black culture. Up until the 1960s, mid-60s, maybe early 70s, Black America was very, very conservative in relation to marriages, in relation to business ownership, in relation to home ownership. All of those things. Okay? So when that switch happens and the culture starts to get co-opted and we don't have enough people holding the line on language, that's why I don't call them liberals. They're not liberals. For those of y'all that never read The Law by Frederick Bastiat, go read it. It's a simple read. It's in our Solutionary book list. Join Solutionary University. Every donor today at $99 or more, while we need your help to keep these classes going, every donor gets full access to that. Our Stop the Bleed class upcoming, Understanding Imminent Threat, all of that. But you get access to our book list. You definitely should be reading The Law by Frederick Bastiat. He was a classic liberal. But when they start switching them words up and changing your mind, now you're not even chasing the concept of what the word actually means. Okay? Same thing to Katie Cat's point. Khazars, Eastern Europeans moved into Israel. Palestinians are indigenous to the land genetically. That's why European Israelis genetically are not indigenous and not allowed DNA testing. Y'all gotta read. I'm not telling y'all to agree with that fully. I'm telling y'all, maybe there's Jews, maybe in all different parts of Africa. Maybe there were Jews all throughout the Middle East. Maybe. Go research it. I'm just telling you, Ashkenazi, like the De Beers Diamond Company, when that takeover of this thing and then go over here, man, listen, Israel was created by the Rockefeller family. I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me, the Rothschilds and all of that. My point in saying this is, before you give a yes or a no to any of these things, question it. But when you start looking at this and going, wait a minute now, make sure that you're articulating this in a manner based on the research that you've done. And I don't even want to call it research. We're not like holding up Bunsen beakers and shit. I'm just saying, just step back and look for a while with an objective mind. And just ask certain questions. To Tripp's point, why is black music controlled and operated seemingly by Ashkenazi Jews all of the time? Why? The companies, Jerry Heller, NWA, promoting gangster rap. Why? When there was all types of conscious hip hop. And don't hit me with the, oh no, they was only going with what make money. Eric B. and Rakim was around. And they looked like dope boys. And they had fucking big ass gold ropes and all that other shit. Stop. Slick Rick was a thing, a storyteller. And we weren't talking about killing. You got to ask these questions. Then it seems like every prominent music executive that happened to be black either A, got to start from up under one of the folks, or B, got kicked out of their own situation. Why? Why when Leor Cohen sits down on the Breakfast Club a few years ago and Charlemagne, which I give him credit for, said, yo, do you think it's wrong to promote these things that promote drug use and this, that, and the third? And he literally said, I got bills to pay. I got family to feed. So it's cool. It's cool to promote drugs, death, murder, mayhem to this particular group, but not any other group. Black people have not had a historic, in America at least. We didn't create music that glorified those things. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go, Jade C. Let's go. Sorry, but the reality is Israel isn't going anywhere, and blaming Jews for black culture doesn't sound solutionary. And your goofy ass, that's not what I said. You jumped in and I was there with you. And then you said some shit I said that I didn't say. And you're fucking wrong. How many times have I said, that's not black culture tonight, guys? How many times have I said and gave examples of what black culture has been historically, even in the entertainment field? How many times did I say that? But you Johnny come lately jumping out here, and I was open to you saying a certain thing, and I have not said Israel should go anywhere. Never said any of that. See, and this is a great example, solutionaries. They'll try to twist your words, but you can pull the file back and go, that's not what the fuck I said, meant, or implied in any way, shape, or form. Not what I said. At all. But see, that's what they do. And let me see something. Jade C, I never seen you on my channel before. Did BB send you? I never seen you before. You subscribe to my channel? You with the IDF? You with Mossad? What's going on? I never seen you before. I never said that. Katie Cat says, I heard you, Maj. You didn't say what he said. Very clear. I promise you that's not what I said. I literally said, this is not black culture. And I also said, I respect the game that AIPAC has done in America. They repping for their team. I said it. I said the things that I disagree with. I disagree with this picture. And I also said, if this picture is real, because it could be AI generated. I said all of that. But you jump out there with the goofy shit. Now that's the reason why this is a perfect example, solutionary. Perfect example. Okay? is because I communicated in a way that when somebody tries to, and I'm telling y'all as solutionaries, when you start speaking truth, they're going to cut you up, clip you up like Kevin Samuels, right? They're going to leave out Kevin Samuels dogging men and blaming men for being weak. They're going to leave that out. They're going to say, oh, he just hate black women. They're going to say all of that. But if you articulate your points right, you go, wait a minute, that's not what I said. They're going to try to take you out of context, but it's very difficult to take you out of context when you step back for a while, you evaluate everything, and you mention some of the things that seem to make sense. Listen, I am not mad at any group of people that will operate through the state, because in America, government happens from the consent of the governed. Y'all guys should read some Montesquieu. You should read some John Locke. You should read some insert whoever. You definitely should take the civics class because we go over all of this, literally in the civics class. It's from the consent of the governed. So if it's from the consent of the governed in America, and I need to get my team, my America First team, we need to sprinkle them all throughout government so they can be in alignment with what we want to happen. That is what AIPAC seems to have done. I'm not mad at that. I can question it, but we all know the definition of politics: the securing, maintenance, and expansion of your interests. So don't let, if this picture like this is real, don't let that turn you off from being involved and repping your gang and making your gang go in the direction of your maintenance, security, and expansion of your interests. That's what politics is. Politics is also the way that the world's resources are moved, locally, state, nationally, and internationally. That's what politics is. So I'm not going to say, because I think that this is wrong, if this picture is true, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. I'm also not going to say, and that's why we can't be involved. No. I respect that all of the Ashkenazi Jews are going, hip hop is the most powerful form of medium artistically in the world. We need a part of that. If I'm saying I could respect it and them saying from a business standpoint, y'all should respect me saying you should, if you are most of the producers of the product and the entertainment, then you should have a controlling factor in all of it. That's all. You signed the deals. They presented the money in the contract. You signed it. Don't sign it. Go independent. Don't complain about the Jews. The Ashkenazi Jews ran and hid and came here. They got quiet and they started building shit. Now let's take that Jewish word out. And let's put the Japanese. Japanese people had 2 atomic bombs dropped on them. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Only country that ever happened. You know what country did it? That's telling everybody else they can't have nuclear arms? America. Did Japan start bitching too much? No. They got quiet, they made shit, and now all of you are buying all of their tech. It's a business. I can say it's wrong and I morally disagree with it. 100%. And then I go, I still want to have control so I can control this thing going in a direction so we're not having this. So we don't have all of our politicians, 250 of them U.S. legislators. Where the fuck are you? What are y'all doing? That's not America first. And I don't give a fuck if this was Africa. I've been to Africa 3 times. Ghana, Senegal, Egypt. Loved it. I'm not going over there talking about, yeah, as a public servant. Fuck no, that's stupid. So you, as the people, are consenting to this because you're not being involved. And now, as more and more people are speaking out against it, the Israeli and IDF and Mossad and all of that in the international community, they going too far. This picture right here, bro, if this is real, that shit's too far, man. I'm sorry. That's psychotic, in my opinion. Well, what does China say? China says the United Nations must terminate membership of Israel for its inhumane actions in Gaza. Now, it's a little rich to me coming from President Xi Jinping. I fucked up his name. What's his name? That could come off a little racist. And I have a dark sense of humor. Okay? His name's Xi Jinping, right? Somebody tell me the Chinese dude's name. So that's a little rich because China and the Uyghurs got a whole nother conversation over there. So that's a little rich and a little contradictory, but it's politics. He gonna stab it. He gonna take Xi. That's his name. Xi. President Xi. Okay. My point in saying this is it's a little bit of a contradiction coming to him because they got some human rights violations happening over there a little bit too. You know what I mean? A communist regime talking about humanitarian shit is a little, the irony's not lost on me. You know what I mean? But if China's saying the United Nations must terminate membership of Israel for its inhumane actions in Gaza, China's a different, this ain't just, because I know some people will be like, well, fuck them African nations turning their back on fucking BB. Fuck them African nations. They, because you know how some of the white people in America be like, they can't get their shit together. Never mind the fact that France, Europe, America consistently works on fucking destabilizing African nations for their natural resources. Never mind, like I feel like I said this 10 times this week. Never mind the fact that when Gaddafi was over there in Libya trying to get Africans to back their dollar with its own resources, the Obama administration fucking murdered him for doing what BRICS is now, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, right? So some of the white folks go, oh, you know, the African nations. So, okay, if the mostly African nations got up and turned their back on this guy, Bibi, now we talking about China. Now we talking about China. China like, the fuck? These are human rights violations. It's the same thing y'all was saying with the Tutsis and the Watutsis and the whatever that other group was when that movie Hotel Rwanda came out. Oh, you ain't got, this is human rights violations. So now China say it. Is China tripping? Is China them poor Africans? No, they not. Like Jimenez says, China has Uyghur camps and how they treat black population that's horrible. So the irony's not lost on me with Xi saying what he's saying. The irony's not lost. Right? And they did murder. They murdered Gaddafi allegedly for the Israeli government. Why? Because we need that money to be based in the world's reserve currency needs to be the US dollar. We want to do that. We don't have enough minerals in these other smaller nations like Israel. We got to operate through America and let them have the reserve currency. Because if it becomes these African nations, Africa got so many gold and this and that. And when I say this, y'all act like I'm just on some back to Africa shit. No, I'm telling y'all, I've been there. I've seen it. I've been there 3 times. Marlon says they got plenty of human rights violations, but if he's calling out, it's pretty fucked up. Right, because most times you'll just be quiet like, ew. Let me shut the fuck up. I just killed 2 motherfuckers last week. Let me shut up. But if he like, oh, god damn, y'all kind of overdoing it. Okay? Katie Cat says Uyghurs are a part of the terrorist proxies in Syria. Listen, I ain't even getting that deep, y'all. I ain't getting that deep. I'm not getting mad at y'all. Mo Fly says it's something else. Mo Fly says that's why they hate Burkina Faso so much. Damn, did my shit just freeze? That's why they hate Burkina Faso so much. And Ibrahim Traore or whatever his name is over there. I ain't mad at him. He got them French boys right up out of there. I don't know what the fuck's up with my mic. My camera acting stupid again. So I'm gonna go audio. Give me a thumbs up or something if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me in the chat. I don't know what's going on, but y'all let me know. I think that's a good place to start rapping anyway.